So, hey guys, it's your boy, Sir Thoughts-A-Lot here with another My Hero Academia What If video. So, sorry it's been a while. I know, it's been like a month, but I've had exams and, I wanted to focus on that, make sure that I get them done as well as I can so I can focus back onto this after I'm done. So now that they're completed, we can get back to actually one of my favorite What If series that I've started, well, one of two. What if Deku was the Avatar? And last time we left off having done the quirk apprehension test and having done the battle trials that All Might conducted. So after witnessing the trials and tribulations faced by both him and the other students during the battle trial that All Might had conducted, Deku started to take his training as the Avatar a little bit more seriously, realizing that he might need to catch up quickly if he actually wants to stand up like a single chance of keeping up with his classmates. He thinks to himself how narrowly he actually managed to beat Bakugo's team, and how much he had to rely on his teammate Uraraka in that match. This makes him blush a little bit, but he quickly brushes that off and gets a determined look on his face as he stares up into the air, lets out a sigh of relief, and sits down cross-legged to continue his image training with Aang. So Bakugo has a similar moment in his room, however he's more seething out of anger at the prospect of losing to Deku. He's not even angry at Deku. Now, they've been rivals for years and they've been on equal footing, but now he has this amazing new power and he's still not on the same level. Bakugo has two quirks, but Deku just has a seemingly endless number of them. He must be cheating. So the next day they head out to the Unforeseen Circumstances Joint, or USJ for short, with 13 and Aizawa chaperoning their training. All Might is, similarly to the anime, out of it. He's out of commission at this point due to overdoing with his hero work, and he's unable to make it. Bakugo looks a little bit annoyed, but shrugs it off with a small grunt that nobody but Deku really notices. He passes this off as just Bakugo's newfound power being similar to All Might, and maybe he's developing a bit of a superiority complex because of it. Bakugo. So, just then, a large black and purple cloud envelops the group, and the teachers instruct the students to stick together as this isn't just a training exercise anymore. A swarm of villains rush out of the gate and into the vicinity, with the leader, calling himself Shigaraki Tomura, introducing himself and the group as a newfound villain organization, known as the League of Villains. Tomura scratches his neck and asks sharply, "Where's All Might, Kurogiri? You said All Might was going to be here." Tomura's grin can be seen behind the hand covering his face after a moment as he smugly says, "Well, if we can't go to All Might, then he'll come to us." Then he shouts, "Kill the students! That should draw him out." 13 exclaims, "Not today, and not on my watch. You'll never touch these students or see All Might, villain." The students fighting the Warp Gate villain, Bakugo and Kirishima, look confused as he slips past both them and Aizawa and proceeds to warp the majority of the students and villains to completely different areas of the USJ, and hence the USJ incident begins. Deku, Tsuyu and Mineta are sent to the shipwreck zone on top of a big ship. Deku gets a smile on his face as he sees the massive villains in the water and confidently tells his two classmates, "Don't worry, I've got this." Tsuyu tries to stop him by telling him there's no way he can take on so many water villains, and despite the fact that he's got three quirks that they've seen, fire, air, and earth, aren't really particularly useful if they're in the water, Deku tells her, "Yeah, I have just one more quirk up my sleeve." And then he jumps off the ship to the horror of his two friends. He stares, he disappears out of sight. And then they hear a gush of water. They watch him reappear in this gigantic tornado of whirling water, scattering some of the villains in the water. Deku yells to Mineta, "Balls, now!" and Mineta cries for a second before throwing as many balls as he can into Deku's water tornado. Deku screams out, "Combination move, sticky water cyclone," as he suddenly and abruptly collapses the tornado before him. Mineta and the villains, as well as all of the other bystanders, they're watching in shock. The villains are gloating while the students and teachers watching from afar, watching despair. Deku maintains a smile as he slams into the water as fast as he can, pushing off the air with his airbending and swirling the water around him as he splits into a circle, splitting the lake like Moses with the Red Sea and sending gigantic spiraling waves around him into the lake as the currents drag them towards one another, filled with Mineta's sticky spheres latching onto the villains one by one and colliding into one another until they form a large homogeneous sphere of villains. Deku sends a wave up, sending them flying into the air before jumping up on a platform of earth. Deku smiles as he swivels around on the platform. He donkey kicks the platform with his earthbending and sends the platform, the villains, and the mass of spheres flying straight into the wall of the USJ and crashing out. This sends a shock to everyone watching. Shigaraki, his attention gets grabbed. He watches and itches himself vigorously on the neck with sheer annoyance. All Might was supposed to be our only issue. What the hell was that, Kurogiri? They're cheating, Kurogiri, they're cheating, he screams. Aizawa uses his lapse in his concentration to launch at the hand mask villain, catching him off guard. And just as he gets his scarf close enough to touch the leader, a warp gate envelops him and sends him flying out into the open air, tens of meters up. This breaks his legs on impact with the ground, and Deku sees this as he heads towards the fight, his eyes just gleaming with horror and anger. He whimpers no as he reaches there and catches the attention of the villains. They look at him with a hungry, murderous intent in their eyes, and Shigaraki says, "You're next, boy. Get ready to meet your maker." Deku then screams "No!" out loud as his eyes glow a bright blue. A vortex of wind and fire envelop onto his body to create a suit of bright orange flame with his blue eyes piercing through the cloak. He casually walks towards the villains as they fire everything they have at him, their attacks simply deflected away by the gale force winds surrounding him. Deku stops in his tracks, right in the center of the group, and slides Aizawa away to safety. The voices of the Avatar's past ring through the air. That's enough. Deku slams his fist into the ground and the villains look in horror as the earth beneath them moves in fluid waves as if it's just another part of the ocean, as if it were made of soup. All the while, Bakugo's rushing towards the scene, full cowling active and his explosions propelling himself forwards at breakneck speeds, and just as a wave reaches its peak, Deku sees a massive flash as Bakugo screams, "Explosion Mega Barrage!" and the earth melts under the tremendous heat, flash fried, and is flattened by the raw power of the impact, sending a gigantic wall of it thinly smashing upwards into the air as the rest of the ground is flattened like a pancake and sent flying downwards. The villains are sent absolutely flying and crashing into the walls of the molten earth that's almost liquefying them, sending them all mangled onto the walls. They're shocked. Deku's shocked. Even Bakugo's slightly shocked. The villains, half of them knocked unconscious, the rest of them completely and utterly stunned by the power of these students. Deku stares at Bakugo and he stares back. Both of their inherited powers clashing and fusing, having taken out almost all of the villains. The only ones remaining standing were the Warp Gate villain, the leader, and a new villain who'd seemingly arrived out of nowhere. Shigaraki mutters to himself, "Damn it all, damn it all, damn it all!" Nomu, finish the job here. The bird villain turns towards Deku. Deku reacts quickly, trying to encase the bird-like monstrosity in a thick layer of rock. The Avatar state having faded after the explosion and leaving Deku considerably weakened. To everyone's surprise, Shigaraki is completely unfazed by this and yells, "Stop fooling around," before the Nomu sends shrapnel flying into the air, leaping out of his stone cage as if there was nothing there. He lands in front of Deku, who instinctively backs away, but he proceeds to walk towards him with this menacing look of blankness. Bakugo yells, "Don't you forget that I'm here, crapface," and leaps at the villain, blasting him square in the back with his strongest explosion he can muster, causing him to barely even flinch, as even one-for-all Bakugo just recoils from the sheer size of the explosion. He's sent flying backwards and the Nomu barely even notices. He simply turns around towards Bakugo and slowly walks towards him now. Bakugo yells and starts to let out a full-blown volley of kicks, punches and explosions to the Nomu, who doesn't even react to it. Shigaraki just laughs and says he can absorb shock. He's decided to take the power of All Might. in his prime. You amateurs think you can win? You can never win. Deku gets a glint in his eyes as he hears this, and he thinks to himself, I can win this. So that's where I'm going to end this episode, on a little bit of a cliffhanger. I know, after cliffhanging you for a month, but I think the next episode should be quite a scene, so hopefully you guys are looking forward to that. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. I know it's been a while, but I've had a lot of stuff going on, so I hope you guys can forgive me for that. But yeah, that's the end of part 6. In part 7, we'll be continuing with this pretty crazy fight so far. Without even All Might getting involved, it's still getting pretty nutty, so hopefully we'll get to see some crazy stuff go down. Before I forget to mention, I am going to be uploading some slightly different videos to my channel as well. So I'm actually making a game, and I'm going to be uploading some of the progress to that to this channel as well. You guys don't have to watch that if you don't want. It's mostly just for me documenting my experiences with it and, going through, making sure I can organize everything, and, some of you might want to see it. I'll be adding some stuff, and if you guys could leave some suggestions as to what I should add to it, how I can change it, how I can improve it, or even send in art, or anything else really, like stories, art, whatever the hell you want about the game, then that would be much appreciated, because it's going to be going through development quite a lot, and I'd love to have you guys input on it. So yeah, that's pretty much that for this part. I will see you guys in the next part, or maybe in the next video that's about my game. Whenever, I just hope you guys have a nice day, and bye guys.